Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video. If I sound a little strange, long story short, I shouldn't watch things that make me cry before attempting to record. I'm also recording this in one go instead of several different takes. Anyway, today I am airing my grievances against how most of the companions in Dragon Age 2 dress. I'm no expert on armor, but I do know some things. With that warning out of the way, let's begin. I'm going to start with talking about the outfits I have no issues with, and that would be any uniform, and the outfit Aveline wears when Hawke first meets her. I don't know enough to point out any issues with the Guard, Grey Warden, or Templar uniforms, and I don't have any issue with the Circle Mage robes, and it's very obvious that Aveline only wears her normal clothes when she knows she's not fighting or in emergencies such as the Blight. Now I'm going to talk about the ones that I have slight issues with. This would be Anders and Bethany's personal clothes. In case you didn't know, Anders is almost completely invulnerable thanks to Justice. This means that he doesn't really need any armor, and he does have access to the rock armor spell. My issue with the clothes is that it is so obvious that he's a rebellious apostate, and it's canon that the feathers fall off all over the place. In fact, his personal quest in Mark of the Assassin is you finding feathers for him. Because they need to be replaced. And also, the apostates, or not, I don't remember if it's the apostates or their sellswords. I think it's the sellswords. In Dragon Age Inquisition, wear a brown and gray scale version of his clothes. So, it's kind of the apostate uniform. Anyway, now as for Bethany, her dress and the chainmail apron isn't bad, especially since she's a mage. I personally would extend the chainmail up to her neck with cloth under it to give her a little more protection, but at least her stomach is covered, and that's the important part. Now that we're at the part where people who definitely should be wearing some kind of armor aren't. This would be Carver in his personal clothes, Isabella, and Varric. Carver is a warrior. If anyone needs to wear armor, it's him. I have no complaints about his clothes as just clothes go, though. Varric should wear some armor, but in his defense, he does get some in Inquisition, and he doesn't need it as much as Carver does. I also have no complaints about how his clothes are as clothes, because more men in video games should dress like that to even it out with how the women dress. Now, Isabella. I'm not a prude, but what the hell is she wearing in the second game? I'm fairly certain, but don't quote me on this, that her dueling leathers in Inquisition were in her concept art for the second game, and she does get some bonus points for her boots not being stilettos. Also, having something to keep her hair out of her face is great, and more things need to do that. Just saying. Now we're going to talk about Fenris, and he gets his own section, because he's the only one who needs more armor than just needing armor in general. I get that we need to see his tattoos, but again, he's a warrior and needs armor. Also, the spikes. That's more dangerous for him than other people. At the very least, his chest piece should be larger and sturdier, and he should be wearing something on his thighs and hips, which are covered by cloth anyway. Now that we're done with him, we're gonna move to the worst two. Merrell is a little more obvious than Sebastian. She is, after all, wearing a chainmail catsuit on her bare skin. At least elves don't have body hair, so it's not pinching quite as much as it could. I have an alternative image of her clothes in my head, but I can't draw it. Hopefully, I can describe it well enough. Basically, she would have the layers reversed. She'd have a green cloth close to her skin, much like Solus's pants in Inquisition, with the chainmail on top. Basically, it would act as her brown apron does. Or is it brown or green? I can't remember right now, and I apologize. Now we're going to move on to Sebastian. And he doesn't look too bad at first. His greaves are way too tight, but that's all at a glance. Then you take into account that he's an archer. Archers shouldn't be wearing plate armor, especially on their arms. The fact that it's a bright, shiny white metal doesn't help matters either. It makes sense to have it as a ceremonial piece, but not as everyday armor. Also, his gloves are fingerless. Archers wear gloves that cover only the fingers. At least the scale mail isn't horrible, or his jacket and pants underneath. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed, and I apologize for the background noise. Believe me, I am probably more annoyed than you are. If you have any suggestions for video topics, drop them in the comments. The next video should be about Cullen. Leave a like if you liked it, comment, and subscribe if you'd like. Have a lovely day or night, and goodbye!